We have released our new iOS app, Menus4All. So that's MENUS, the number 4, ALL in the App Store. And it now offers 500,000 accessible restaurant menus across the United States, plus an additional 250,000 in Canada.
Going through the menu, like just boom, 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 boom.
Some people, like when I have someone read the menu to me, they want to read and it comes with a lettuce, tomato, a toothpick, and a mint.
Oh, Miss Stephany, this is what I want to order. No, I'm going to order this. And just to see her delight, that's what it's about. Watching someone have that moment, that aha moment about a menu. Like I said, it sounds so small, but for us who experience it, this is a big deal.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. In the studio today, we got Menus4All. Stephany Jones will be with us, but co-hosting with me today is Serena Olson, a.k.a. starts with Quiche and half of the dynamic duo on The Blind Grind.
The Blind Grind.
Facebook Live every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday at 10 a.m., except Fifth Fridays when we broadcast at 4 p.m.
I know there's more AKAs involved here.
Yeah, AKA The Blind Broad. Yeah, there's a whole list.
I knew there was more than that. I was going through a couple of them, but I thought I left that one up. That's Twitter, Blind Broad. There you go.
Oh, it's anywhere I can put it.
It's all about the marketing.
It's even in my LinkedIn profile, TBH. It's my celebrity personality.
When it came time to figure out who's going to be co-hosting on here, starts with Quiche. That was a good clue. It's food. This is Menus4All. And Stephany Jones, welcome to Blind Abilities.
Oh, thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here with you all. And you're right, Quiche is right up our alley.
Yeah. Ooh, I should plug Quiche into the app and see who's doing quiche in my neighborhood.
Well, you can.
You can search by menu item.
The menu item. If you're in the mood for something, you can search for it.
Stephany, why don't you tell us about the new app? I'm excited. I remember back in 2019, we were talking about the website. Now it's in the app.
It is an app. So in October 2019, we launched our website with 50,000 accessible restaurant menus across the United States. And over, we heard from individuals, this would be really great in an app form. And we said, yeah, you're right. So we have released our new iOS app, Menus4All. So that's MENUS, the number 4, ALL in the App Store. And it now offers 500,000 accessible restaurant menus across the United States, plus an additional 250,000 in Canada. You can search 3 convenient ways, whether that's by restaurant name, a menu item like we were just talking about, or you can search by city/state or city and state, province in Canada, and zip code search by the time this is released. So yes, we're just really excited. Just want to give some people some independence and access to having something that we think about that is so small, but is actually so important in our lives.
As soon as I fired up the app, all of a sudden, all these restaurants that I have to admit, I did not know some of them were nearby. But when I found the old-fashioned ice cream shop, it was like, I'm digging in. I wanted to go see what else they had. What was really neat is they basically have these malts, and it gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sizes that it goes up to. Mm-hmm. So it was useful information, stuff that I didn't know that's how you order them. I would have just said, give me a vanilla malt. Now I know they have these incremental sizes and different styles you can get. It was really cool.
One of the great things about the menus is that they're all structured the same. The headings, it's built to use the rotor. Let's say you're looking for just the malts and you didn't want to go through the single serve scoops and the waffle cones. You could just jump to the section that you're looking for. And then once you expand it, this section will give you at the top, it'll tell you how many items are in that section and the price range for that section. So if the price range for appetizers are $2.99 to $13.99, I may decide I want to skip that section and move on, or I may decide that's worth my time and trouble to look at.
You know, even just exploring my own neighborhood, which I'm already quite familiar with, I'm delighted to find new places that I didn't know were there. And I really appreciate the uniformity, the consistency of having useful information. I don't have to navigate around a whole bunch of extraneous stuff to find the things that I want. And it's useful and it's consistent. You're looking at one menu, you're kind of looking looking at all of them, that makes it really easy to navigate. And I'm thinking not just for rediscovering your own neighborhoods in a new way. I'm pretty sure that if my Facebook feed is any indication, I know a lot of blind people who travel an awful lot. It seems like every day a blind friend or colleague is checking into an airport somewhere. And I feel like this would be great for folks who are in a new neighborhood or just travel a lot for like picking up quick food.
I agree. Because imagine, hey, I can check out what's in the area before I even get on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I'm there at my hotel, I can check to see what's around me. I move to the conference center. That's going to be a different selection than what may have been at my hotel. And so it makes finding those things quick and easy.
And I especially appreciate that it puts me at the center of everything. It lists them in order of distance. So you can kind of say, well, I could just walk down the street, or, hey, I might want to hop in a ride share and go across town because there's something really extra special over there. Whereas if you're in a strange city and you're looking around on a delivery app or on the internet, you don't know how far away things are necessarily unless you go poking around for that kind of information. And it's like, I'm on a limited time budget. I want to find a place that's just around the corner, or I want to go out for something nice and I'm willing to go across town. And that is super easy to figure out right out of the gate.
The thing I really liked about it is I'm one of those guys that I sit down in the lobby at a hotel and I do this look around type of thing. As the crow flies, you kind of get an idea of what's out there and stuff. But when I find a restaurant like that, it usually would send me to a website, and then I'd have to be wondering what's the accessibility like there, or is it just a JPEG or whatever it is. But this allows me to see what's closest, and then I can go into it. And like you said, the uniformity of it is pretty straightforward. And once you try one out, then it's pretty much seamless. So you can go and check out other things too.
Yes. We wanted to make sure that it was user-friendly. So many times you go to look at menus on Google, do a web search. Well, this one, you found the menu this way and you have to navigate this way. The next one's going to be something totally different because they're not all in the same network. This Menus4All is, whether for the blind or visually impaired or for anyone else, it is the first and the largest network of restaurant menus in one place to this, and they're all accessible. So it's just a bonus.
What was it like when, I think you're at 50,000 at one point, and now you've times that by 10 and still growing?
Yes. Oh my gosh. We thought we were doing good at 50,000. We were so excited. And I know for me personally, along my journey, I just was excited about the 100 or so that I had access to here in my own city. But now 500,000 across the United States. And now I can cross the border and go to Canada. It's just an amazing thing to know that we could offer that many. We know there's about 1 million plus chains and restaurants across the United States alone. And to be able to offer a good majority of them, because there is a mix of the fast food places, there's a mix of sit down, mom and pops, independents, and chains, high dollar, mid dollar, low dollar, however you want to phrase it. There's a good mix of all of it. I mean, when was the last time anyone was in the drive-thru and we had access to a menu? I think even that part is cool to be able to offer that.
I got a high dollar question for you.
Okay.
Are there any Michelin rated restaurants in there, and are they tagged?
They're not tagged. If there are, off the top of my head, I don't know. Every place is a different mix. And that's just because of what is in the database that we're pulling from. But they're not tagged at the moment. And that is something that we kicked around. Do we want to put $1 sign, $2 signs, and, go on and create that little system? We still have that on the table, so that might be an option in the future.
And it may legitimately be a little bit more of a bigger unicorn to wrangle, since those kinds of restaurants do tend to be very seasonal, and, the menu changes from day to day to day.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. And as a foodie, I'd love to see that in there. I mean, I know there's like Taco Bell, there's all the like fast food chains and things like that. I'd love to see the other end of the spectrum in there.
I was very surprised. I was out of town. I had a business dinner at a upscale, fancier restaurant than I typically eat at. And I sat down and there it was, the very first one in my list, and then near me. I almost had sticker shock when I got to read some of the prices, but it was
At least you got to read them and not ask the server.
At least I got to read them. And I got lost. Again, I get lost in all the menu items. I get lost in all the descriptions. And I thought I was a foodie, but now I'm finding new stuff that I didn't even know existed. So it's awesome. But you mentioned updating the menus. One great thing about the database that we're using is that as restaurants submit their information to the database, that information is pushed out to us immediately. And we wanted a database that was keeping current and that was updating things. Now, if a restaurant doesn't provide that information, we don't get that information. A lot of them, and we're thankful for that, keep their menus current, push that information out so that we can provide it to our customers as quickly as possible as well.
Using that database, that probably helps them sell so they don't have to update their own website as much too, in some way, form, or fashion. It sounds like a very efficient way for restaurants to keep abreast of all the internet, using the internet to keep all the people informed, because a lot of people are at home before they go to the restaurants to get food, or, whether they're going to, select that restaurant or another one. That's what I like to do. I like to sit down and I always skim through a menu, and then when I get there, I can actually pretend I actually know what I know and order something that is interesting. But I used to get upset because you order it and they go, oh, that was 3 months ago. We don't carry that anymore.
Yeah.
I've had that when I was at a business meeting and I thought I was going to be a big girl. I was using an app that had come out and my coworkers didn't notice. They were talking about the menu and they didn't notice that neither one of them had offered to read, or I didn't ask for any help. So when the waitress came, I placed my order just like everybody else. And she stood there. I was like, okay. And she's like, ma'am, I've never heard of that dish. We don't have that. And I was like, well, it's right here on the menu.
Uh-oh.
And she's like, no. She was like, that's about 5 years old. And I was so embarrassed because here I thought I was being, all independent. And so the waitress and my two colleagues all started talking to me at once. And I ordered the first thing that I heard clearly. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll eat that.
Oh.
And I hate to say it, it was a meal that did not fit my taste. I think it also had an ingredient that I was allergic to.
Oh, double whammy.
I know, because I couldn't read it. I didn't know. So here I ordered coconut and I can't eat coconut. So it was not the greatest meal of my life. Those are the types of experiences we're trying to avoid.
And access to the information is everything, because when I was at Olive Garden, this is before I knew about the app being ready, the Braille menu is there. I read 2 things off of it, and 3 people at the table ordered those 2 things. It's like, wow, the tide has changed. Once you have access and you talk about something, so now with this, you can read the menu with Menus4All. You can read the menu, be knowledgeable, enjoy the conversation while people are looking and they mention something. Yeah, I saw that too, It's just like you do your homework a little bit in advance, and there you go.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to do it in advance. When you're in the restaurant,
that's right.
Part of that meal is having that conversation, especially amongst friends. You're like, oh my gosh, did you see the quesadilla omelet? Or did you check out the cinnamon roll pancakes? And I say these things because I was at a pancake house this weekend with a friend, and one was sighted, 2 of us blind, visually impaired. All 3 of us got to participate in the same conversation about the menu. And that was an awesome feeling.
And when I'm with, especially my best friend and my significant other, we're usually strategizing because we're going to share at least one thing, because it's about the tasting. I want to try this, and I want to, you ordered this and I'll order that, and we'll pick from each other's plates a little bit, So there's got to be like some conversation and menu comparing.
Well, now you can do it. It doesn't matter whether you're at home getting ready to go out, and how many times have you been out running errands and someone says, oh, I'm starving. Let's go find something to eat. This is perfect because now I can see what's near me. I can be like, oh, within half a mile is such and such. We sit down, have a great meal. I love the spaghetti. But once I get there, if I want to make a U-turn and be like, oh, never mind, I'm getting eggplant parmesan, I can do it.
I never knew the name of the pizza place that was up the road. I always knew there was a pizza place up there. I never knew the name. The pizza place up the road. Oh, the one by the gas station. Yeah, that one. Let's get from there. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's the name. And then you can favorite these.
Yes.
Make a list.
Yeah, and you can add and subtract from your favorites when you're actually in the vicinity of the restaurant or actually in the restaurant, you hit near me, it'll come up either first or within the first couple, especially if you're in an area that may have a lot of restaurants. But it's quick and easy, or you can bookmark it, or like you said, favorite, so you can go back and look later when you've actually gotten off the plane and gotten to the hotel and ready to go out to eat. It's already there for you.
This is so different type of interview. It's like we're all in front of a trough or something. It's like feed, food, all that stuff. And this app is just helping us access it. It's like going out, this is really cool. This is a really neat tool for everyone.
We've been thinking about adding a warning.
Whoa.
Saying that, hey, you'll experience great dysphoria and maybe a few extra calories.
Calories.
But that's not our fault.
Calories may be larger than they appear in this menu.
Yes. I've had so many people come out and be like, I just get lost in reading all the stuff. Because like you said, it's access. And once you get a taste of it, you don't want to let access go. It's made me start thinking, well, what else can I have access in? Mm-hmm. And how else can I apply this? So my business partner and I, we have this dream board of all these things that maybe this one app can lead off into. You never know.
I mean, I'm thinking global.
This is really exciting. As soon as my wife heard it, it was like, hey, that's great. We could get, and then she's paused. She goes, we could get one for the family. Like she wanted it in her phone or something. Is there family sharing? Like if I have the app, can she use the app?
So that is a great question. So that is one of the things that we had to fill out as a developer. And so forgive me, because I think we turned it on because we had this discussion. I think we did. So
multiple devices.
I think it's on multiple devices and things of that nature. And by the time this podcast is released, the annual subscription will be built in as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the annual subscription. I said prescription.
Food is medicine.
Yeah, it is. Food is medicine. It's probably better than medicine. It can be medicine. $2.99 subscription.
$2.99 a month.
I thought that was awesome because you're going to use it. And now that we're out and about more often and you want to know, even if you want to get on the menu, if you're Uber eating, you can use this and get a good idea what's to order and then have it delivered. But I mean, you get to get a taste of the menu.
Yes. Yeah.
That was pretty good. Taste of the menu. You get it?
A taste of the menu. We're going to have you start helping me write copy on all of this stuff with the taste of the menu.
You might want to start with quiche over there.
It does start with quiche.
It always starts with quiche. It's a wonderful way to start off. But what we've done is we've also now added the annual subscription. So with that, it's $29.99 for a year.
Nice.
Which means that you get basically 2 months free.
Yeah.
So you're actually paying for 10 months and getting a whole year worth of access.
I like that because I've flown into Pittsburgh this year and I was at the hotel and I was just like wondering, I went out for a walk and sometimes those walks turn into journeys and adventures that you didn't want to get into and you're just hungry and you'd settle for anything because you just found something finally. But I could have used it right there. Boom.
There you go. I was recently at the mall and I've never, the food court, some of the stuff you just have your tried and true favorites that you always order. Mm-hmm. Every one of the restaurants in the food court was in there. And I just sat there just in awe. And I was like, I didn't even know these places had all of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And am I correct in assuming airports would be the same story?
It is possible.
You're probably going to get a lot of results. There's a lot of chains in airports, which is why I'm presuming those in particular would probably show up.
So it is possible that an airport restaurant could be in there. You're right. I have a trip coming up in January. Hopefully I'll get to practice and see what's there.
As I do as well.
It must be fun having the app, working on developing the app and then also popping into places and using it and finding out how good it really works for you.
It was. The day that we actually got it up and going, my business partner and I still were the only ones that had access to it. I had been telling a student that I had work on this, and this particular day, she had never been out independently in the community. She'd always been with a friend, a family member, but someone cited. And so I took her out. We went to the grocery store, a couple of clothing stores, and she was extremely nervous. End of our trip, I took her to Starbucks because I knew the app had the Starbucks location in it. And I said, what do you want? She's like, well, I always order the same thing. I said, well, I'll tell you what, let me show you something. I said, you're going to be the very first person to see this. And I showed it to her, and she sat there, I promise you, for about 10 minutes just going through. She's like, Miss Stephany, I didn't even know they had this. Oh, Miss Stephany, this is what I want to order. No, I'm going to order this. And just to see her delight, that's what it's about. Watching someone have that moment, that aha moment about a menu. Like I said, it sounds so small, but for us who experience it, this is a big deal. Or, to me, it's a huge deal. And to watch this, my business partner, she was in the car testing it. She's like, Stephany, I've stopped here. It comes up. And I'm in my house in the living room, and we're just yelling on the phone because we were so excited. We're excited. And then everywhere I've gone, and even though my children are sighted, my daughter was texting me. She's like, Mom, I'm at school, and I pulled it up. And I'm like, okay, but go to class. And like,
how many times have you walked up to at a food court, but finally you get up, what do you want? Or what do you have? Or how can I help you? Whatever they say to you, and you go, I'm visually impaired. What do you have in chicken sandwiches? Or, you just don't know. But now you can be in the mall, you can just pull it up and just have it. And when you're in line there, you can be scrolling through it, get up there and just boom. I went to Cinnabons, and all I know is they had buns. But they have lots of different things, once I got up there, and this one girl was helping me out and stuff like that. But now independently, I could just pull it up. And that one other thing, I didn't know we had 7 Taco Bills right around me.
I question the necessity of that, but okay.
I'm not a Taco Bill guy, but it's like, wow, there's a lot of them.
But there's 7, so, just in case.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone likes it.
So those experiences can be so hit or miss. Like when you get an assistant shopper at the grocery store, some days you have a really great experience, and other days it's like, I'm not a dentist. I don't want to pull teeth to get information out of you about the products that I'm shopping for. And it's like that, getting someone to read a menu sometimes as well. And then you just end up picking, the item that you understood, or, the one that seemed closest to what you were asking for, even though they didn't seem to quite understand what you were asking, and you're just kind of like, there's people in line behind you maybe. And you're like, okay, let's just move through this.
Yeah. And so I'll just get anything.
Yeah. I love that you have headings on there, because some people, when I have someone read the menu to me, they want to read and it comes with a lettuce, tomato, a toothpick, and a mint. They want to read every little thing. Basically, let's jump from hamburgers to salads to, first of all, then let's dig in a little bit and then expand on something. But with headings, I can just break down to what I find appealing.
That's right. You can go through a menu probably quicker than your peers can at this point, because you can use those headings to jump through and find the section that you want.
Thinking of this very funny moment I had very recently where I went out to a restaurant that was new to me. I knew it was Mexican and they specialized in seafood. And that was about all I knew. I'd never been there before. It was myself and 2 other blind people and the parents of one of those blind people. And my closer friend of the 2 was sitting next to her mother, and her mom had a menu, and they were leaned in together going through the menu, just boom, 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 boom. And dad was playing reader for the other 2 of us. And he may or may not have imbibed prior to lunch and/or he was just being really cheeky. I know he's an experienced menu reader, and in that moment he was not behaving like one. And so I was squirming in my seat, trying to coax him to skip this or go to that or reread this or skip the descriptions and all this, and I'm just sitting there, simmering with envy at my friend leaned in, just boom, boom, boom. She knows what she's ordering. She's getting her cocktail, before dinner. They got the appetizer, the meal. They're sitting and they're just talking about the weather or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what was the chef special again?
Page 3.
Well, that's okay. Next time you'll be able to whip out your app and you'll be able to find what you want.
That's right.
And then you'll enjoy your cocktail and have a discussion about the weather at the same time.
Yeah.
How about that? And then you can pass the phone to Dad, and so he can find what he wants to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people once again find the app?
Currently, it is in the Apple App Store under Menus for All, MENUS, and the number 4. If you just put in that much, the suggestions will come up, and it's the first one, Menus for All. And then, of course, if you need a download link, you can go to menus4all.com. Again, MENUS, the number 4, ALL.com, and find out more information, see some of the tutorials about how to use the Near Me and the search feature and the waiter alert light, and get questions answered. And then you can always reach out to me as Stephany, STEPHANIE at menus4all.com.
Yeah, and it was really easy to get going on it because as soon as it had my credentials, boom, there were all these Taco Bells lying up, and just 0.4 miles away is this restaurant right up here. And I know that one is, but there's another one, 0.6. I've never been there, so I'm kind of curious now. I'm going to dig in a little deeper at some of these discoveries that I'm finding.
It may well be worth the extra fifth of a mile.
I think so. And within a fifth, that's within walking distance,
That's right.
There you go.
Access to a little bit of information gave me that.
Mm-hmm. That's what we want to do.
Stephany, thank you so much for coming on. And Serena, thank you. I knew you were a foodie.
Thank you, both of you.
Absolutely delightful.
Yes, this has been wonderful.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. Be sure to contact your state services for the blind, your Voc Rehab, and find out what they can do for you. Live, work, read, succeed. And if you want to leave some feedback, give us some suggestions, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. A big shout out to Chi-Chow for his beautiful music. You can follow Chi-Chow on Twitter at LChichow. I want to thank you for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities
of blind abilities.
and the realities of blind abilities.